So, Jpegmafia has finally released his new record, I Lay Down My Life For You. Peggy has been one of the most notorious artists for his generation. I mean, he has been posting music ever since, God, I don't know when. He has so many like different names. He did first post with the Devin Hendrix surname, which he posted a lot of projects, and then I think he actually brought it back to streaming platforms. Of course, there's a lot of iconic things from there. I think the Dreamcast songs a lot of people reference, especially Ghost Pop Tape, which is an underground classic record. This man dropped the best album of the year last year with Danny Brown's Scaring the Hose. It was my personal album of the year, and I just personally think it's one of the most replayable albums I think I've ever heard in my life. It just has so much replay value. There's so much fun, and there's so much like work put into it that it's just hard to just let go. It's just an addictive record that I just freaking adored. It was amazing. In terms of his solo career, his last project was LP, which was an incredible project and probably also my album of the year for 2021. Sorry, Donda. It just grew on me a bit more, and just again like the sample chops, the amount of like just artistic stuff that he put in there, the way he just like I guess controlled and manipulated the sound and crafted his own thing was just something that I just didn't hear about during that time. I just haven't heard about ever. Despite him being, hugely influenced by Kanye, he was sort of being his own type of person in his own way. Which is kind of funny saying that because obviously this year with Vultures, Peggy has a production credit in Vultures Part 1 and now Part 2 as I'm recording this video because Kanye just surprise dropped Vultures 2 earlier this morning. I'm recording on a Saturday, but yeah, you know how Kanye is. But yeah, the thing is that Peggy has just done so many things across his career, and he's one of the most unpredictable artists ever. Once again, has just dropped so many projects throughout his career that has a definitive sound, and it's very just hard to identify like what is it really, what is a genre. This man just likes to experiment with different genres to the point that he makes his own type of thing, his own type of experimental hip-hop branch, if any. Yet in his lyrics he doesn't really say anything that different from what he said from the previous album. It's just like a music you don't have to take seriously in a conceptual level, yet it's something that just listening to it in aesthetics and sound, it's something that's just groundbreaking within itself. So Peggy dropped 2 singles leading up to this record. The first one was Don't Rely on Men, which I thought was a very interesting single. If anything, it was very chaotic, it was very hardcore, and it involved a lot of electronic guitars and very like punk rock type of instrumentation involved in the mix, especially with the second half kind of like ascending in a way, in a very like just rock type of way, which again it's just Peggy's nature just being very unpredictable. The thing with that song though that I found, I guess, that I just wasn't a huge fan with is that it was like too chaotic in the sense that I just thought the mixing could have been improved. It could have been much stronger, much bolder, because I couldn't hear that much clarity when it came to the vocals for Peggy. Thankfully, in this album, I Laid Down My Life For You, I know I'm getting ahead, the mixing is much better, and he adds a very beautiful outro for the song with strings and stuff that I will get into this review, which is how that thing is very like predominant throughout the record. The other single that he released was Sin Miedo, which was released just out of nowhere, and it is the stronger single, of course, and is one of the best songs of this album. It just was such an interesting track in terms of the very goofy big booty hoes come with it, like that line just being just chopped up and in such like a bouncy way around the song. And when we once again hear the electric guitars that Peggy was sort of edging us with, I can't believe I said edging, but yeah, edging us with, and again, Don't Rely on Men, which is just a great and fascinating addition to the track, because later on in this track, it gives you like this bouncy like dance party vibe, almost like Jersey type, the drums, and it later on just develops into an almost EDM type of song, which these electric drums coming into the mix, these pads, these synthesizers that comes out of nowhere, and then earlier that break, that drum break that just gives it a lot of time for the track to breathe and kind of goes again more into a more rock type. Again, that I think Sin Miedo is one of the most interesting, chaotic songs in his discography. It is so addictive. It is so like just again, chaotic. It's just complete madness, almost like a Scaring the Host track, but I guess with even a more unpredictable structure than from a Scaring the Host track. But yeah, again, that song was just amazing to listen to. So yeah, fast forwarding to this record, I Lay Down My Life for You. It basically follows that type of, like, I guess, formula in terms of the super chaotic parts and as well like some dancey parts as well. But man, it just does so many like just changes and turns throughout this entire album that it's just the Jpegmafia unpredictable nature that I once said. This album is like very punk-esque. I think it's probably his most like hardcore and punk record to this date. And that's saying a lot because LP was a lot. LP had a lot of things going on. It had a lot of hardcore elements to it. But this one is more straightforward. Like the first half of this record, or just the majority of this record, is straight up destruction when it comes to these super distorted drums, these loud and gnarly vocals into the mix. The opening track, which I forgot the title because it was like a whole sentence, it is like the definition of scaring the host. If you thought scaring the host was scaring the host, this thing like scares the host. He is screaming out of his lungs in this song. He is just doing some very punk-like stuff. His very fast flow rapping that he's known for. And again, the freaking drums. The drums that are so like crunchy and hardcore into the mix, and it's like a great short opener that really sets the tone for the entire record. It's kind of funny because the second track being Sin Miedo, which I said it was like such an unpredictable track and has some some electronic dance music in there at the end. It's followed up by I'll Be Right There, which in the beginning it just sounds like a very like almost like a hit, like a Kanye type of inspired song, or even more like a song that you would hear in LP. The way it's kind of like more mellow and more chill, kind of setting into the almost like 90 BPM range. There's also a song in here called It's Dark and Hell is Hot, in which I swear it sounds like it sampled the Minions. Like the entire beat has like this like muffled mumble type of like just sample across the entire record. I mean, just across the entire song, that it just like it sounds like a Minion grabbed the microphone and just started speaking a bunch of nonsense, and of course Peggy chopped it up and made it a very hard beat. The thing with this song though is that I'm a bit like 50-50 when it comes to if I like it or not, because it's a song. It's for sure a song, but it's just also so hard to vibe with when again you have the freaking Minions in the background and it just sounds so goofy and just like so everywhere, like out of place in a way. Kind of reminds me when he I think he was the one who pitched up the vocals in one of the songs in Vultures, which sounds like a freaking Minion is rapping an entire verse, and it was very distracting. But yeah, it just gave me that idea. It's funny because this album has like 3 features. We have Vince Staples, which is a New Black History, which is a banger of a track. I'm surprised Vince Staples even managed to fit on Peggy production. I think Peggy tried to make it even more accessible because he sort of has a beat that sounds like it would come straight out of Big Fish Theory, so you could kind of fit Vince's flow, which I thought was very nice. And I think Peggy delivers a pretty cool verse in the second half. I kind of wish the song was a bit longer. It felt a bit short, but I think it gave it enough room for Vince to feel comfortable with the space that he was working on in the song. The other feature is Denzel Curry, which is in the song JPEG Ultra. These guys have collabed before a bunch of times. I think, yeah, they collabed in Vengeance, which fun fact, I think it was the first time I've ever heard of Jpegmafia. I'm pretty sure it was from Vengeance, which, man, Peggy had an amazing verse in that song. But anyway, also collabed in Bold and now on this song. And I think this song might be the best song out of the 3 collaborations. Like, wow. Like, it has so much charisma and so much, like, just funny and quirky moments and so much charm put into it. I think Denzel Curry opening the song with this sort of, like, jazzy, sort of, like, 70s or 80s type of sample playing into the background, rapping and flowing his ass off, by the way, with this very cool drum break into the mix, and then kind of passing the baton over to Peggy, in which he does whatever the hell he wants in the song, and he just evolves the song later on into like we already get like acoustic guitars into the mix, and it feels like very like just silent and calm. And we hear Peggy just rapping his ass off on it and then returns to the original sample. There's just so much fading in and fading out that it's just like incredible. Like just Peggy is like the only artist who could think of this at the moment. I wish it was Kanye who could also think of it, but this guy has been delivering some underwhelming music and production nowadays. Anyway, aside of Kanye rants, again, Peggy in this song was just amazing. It was really like a star player, and Denzel again passing the baton, which is freaking amazing. This album, aside of its like fair share of punk type songs, it has like some very soothing songs. The track with Buzzy Lee, where it literally sounds like she's like she's being sampled by Peggy. And the first 2 minutes, I think the entire song is just very calm and chill. Peggy delivers a verse in a very whispery tone, which kind of feels much more like one-on-one type-ish. I really appreciate it, despite me not, I guess, loving the song, because I feel that the Buzzy League segment is a bit too long and it kind of overshadows Peggy's part, but it's still something that I definitely respect a lot. Either on or off the drugs, a very intimate way of just Peggy kind of like talking about drug addiction, and I guess the way that drugs can make you feel, and I guess the battle when it comes to like soberness in general. And I think the whole flow and just like tone of this song feels just very like old school in a way. The way the sample is chopped and mixed into here, the way kind of Peggy drives this song to be a much more chill, laid back song, kind of a break from all the madness that we get to hear from the first half, which I thought was a very nice and subtle touch from Peggy. Loop It and Leave It has a very beautiful like string type of beat and sample thrown in here. I wish it was a much longer song though. I kind of was disappointed by how short this song was, because Peggy was kind of settling into the track when he started to spit his verse, and I just feel that I would have appreciated like at least 2 more minutes or an extra minute from this song so it could fully develop. I just thought that this kind of, I guess, serves as an interlude, but at the same time not, and it just feels a bit awkward when it's like into the track listing of the album. Also, the outro of this entire record I just think is freaking beautiful. I Recovered from this is just wow. It ironically reminds me a lot of Birth of Rap by Lil B. Just the way that the song feels so ethereal and just so like just out of this world, and just like another dimension basically just popped up and just summoned. And the way that Lil B like flows on that track, it just, the things that he say on that track make it even better, despite him not being like more of a serious rapper. I don't know why, but it kind of reminded me of that song when it comes to this particular song of Peggy, because I think it's just the way that Jpegmafia just, what he says in the song, like at the beginning, the way he's talking about like he still fucks his ex hoes raw and stuff like that, which I thought was kind of funny. But this obviously has to do something with more of him just having relationship issues, and the way that he well, my eyes are blurry. The way that he kind of has a problem when it comes to like dealing with a specific romantic partner, because the way that I guess he kind of leans more towards drugs, or he leans more to other things to sort of vent out his frustrations, and he sees it as a shortcut in life, despite him not kind of like I guess seeing a particular like long-term commitment to something aside of himself. Returning back to the super like just distorted parts of this album, which make up the bulk of it. Exmilitary is like a Death Grips type of song, basically. Like obviously there's a Death Grips mixtape called Exmilitary, which is freaking amazing. You should definitely check it out. But wow, this is one of the lengthier songs that Peggy has ever released, and for a good reason. It has that one loop and sample that it has that one loop and sample from Tears. I think yes, it's from Tears from Wu-Tang 36 Chambers, I believe. And just the way that he works that into this song, it just introduces some other samples into the mix and freaking throws in a metal like Uzi type of like screamer growl in there. It was just chaotic and just madness. Actually, starting to think it's very like punk and metal. It's just like kind of like switches from both, from our punk or metal and rock. It does a lot with it. But this song for 6 minutes has so many different transitions and phases. It's kind of hard for me to describe, but there's so many parts in here where he's rapping his ass off, kind of increasing the flow as he raps on, and just freaking throws in some hardcore metal and punk type things halfway through the song, and just the way he wraps it up is also incredible. But it's also very interesting because he kind of backs in and backs out with the same sample that Wu-Tang sampled when it comes to Tears. That I thought was a very interesting observation. Jihad Joe is kind of like it, but a bit more straightforward when it comes to the metal stuff. We once again hear Peggy screaming his lungs out on this song with a very chaotic and distorted beat into the mix. even though it's one of the more straightforward songs, it doesn't have like a crazy evolution like some other songs do. I kind of appreciate it a lot because it just shows the amount of performance and energy this man can have on this record. Vulgar Display of Power is one of the best examples as well because it is just 2 minutes of screaming and shouting, which kind of reminds me a lot of like System of a Down, or one of those kind of like blends when it comes to hip hop and punk or metal. It really reminds me a lot of that. It's just, again, so much energy and shout, and it's just like, wow, like once Peggy is locked in this song, he is locked in during the entire remainder of this song. It's just catchy and just fun to listen to. I know I've been rambling a lot about distorted madness and stuff like that and calm, but it's just really like the best adjectives to describe this record. When it comes to Peggy, he even said himself, his records aren't too deep, even though I did say there's some occasional deep and dark segments when it comes to this record, but for the majority, I think I lay my life down with you is just a very straightforward Peggy record, which a bigger focus and more hardcore industrial metal / punk aesthetics that are in here, and they really support the sound a lot. I'm just surprised that Peggy manages to make an album like this in like a freaking year, less than a year. I mean, yeah, it's been a year since Scary and the Host came out, and he was busy with Vultures and stuff. But wow, it's just the mere fact that he had music like this laying around his damn like hard drive is incredible. It really is, and it just proves that Peggy has one of the most consistent discographies, I would say, ever, and also in hip hop history. Like, this man does not show any time to stop, and he's been putting out bangers since like 2018. And now we're in 2024, so I can't even wait as to what he'll put out in the future years. So far, damn Peggy, like seriously, like damn Peggy. So yeah, what would I rate this record? I'm probably kind of sensing more of a strong 8 to almost a light 9 out of 10 on this record. I think it's incredible. It's just complete, utter, organized chaos that you would listen to a usual Peggy record, but it's even more chaotic in this album. There's much more punk, much more metal, and it probably scared me more than Scaring the Host. So yeah, what did you guys think about this record? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Let me know down in the comments below. Leave a like if you enjoyed the review. Subscribe to the notification bell on so you miss an upload from me. And then yeah, see you guys later. Stay safe from anything bad out there. Peace out, everybody.